In the beginning, there was only darkness and void. But then God spoke, "Let there be light." And light was born. In 6 days, the universe took shape by the word of God. He created the heavens and the earth, separated the waters, formed dry land, made plants grow, and filled the sky with sun, moon, and stars. He populated the earth with animals of every kind, and finally, he created human beings in his image. Adam and Eve were the first. God placed them in the Garden of Eden, a paradise full of life and peace, where they walked with him in harmony. They were given freedom and purpose, but also a command, not to eat from the tree of the knowledge of good and evil. Tempted by a serpent, they disobeyed, and in that moment, innocence was lost. Sin entered the world. God clothed them and sent them out of Eden, not as punishment alone, but to begin the long story of redemption. Outside the garden, life became hard, but hope remained. Adam and Eve had children, among them 2 sons, Cain and Abel. Abel was a shepherd and Cain a farmer. One day, both brought offerings to God. Abel's was accepted, but Cain's was not. Filled with envy and anger, Cain turned cold toward his brother. One day, in the field, his jealousy took over, and he struck him down. God confronted Cain, not with wrath alone, but with sorrow. He was marked and sent away, and so the earth continued to fill with people, with progress, but also with violence and corruption. God saw that humanity's heart had turned away. But there was one man who walked faithfully with him, Noah. God instructed Noah to build a great ark because a great flood was coming, one that would cleanse the world. Noah obeyed. He gathered animals in pairs, and when the rain began, he and his family entered the ark. For 40 days and nights, the earth was swallowed by water, but God remembered Noah. When the waters receded, life began again. As a sign of his promise never to flood the earth again, God placed a rainbow in the sky, a symbol of mercy. Time passed, people spread once more, but pride returned. In the city of Babel, they built a great tower trying to reach heaven itself. God, seeing their arrogance, confused their language. The people could no longer understand one another, and so they scattered across the earth. From that moment came the nations and the diversity of tongues. And then, in the middle of this broken world, God chose a man to begin something new, Abraham. God called Abraham to leave his land and promised him descendants as numerous as the stars, and a land for them to live in. Though he and his wife Sarah were old and had no children, they believed, and miraculously, their son Isaac was born. Isaac grew and had 2 sons, Esau, the strong and impulsive firstborn, and Jacob, the quiet and clever younger brother. Through a twist of fate and a clever plan, Jacob received the blessing meant for Esau. Years later, God changed Jacob's name to Israel, and from him came 12 sons, the fathers of the 12 tribes of Israel. One of those sons was Joseph, a dreamer with a special gift. He was his father's favorite, and that stirred jealousy in the hearts of his brothers. In secret, they sold him into slavery and told their father he was dead. Joseph was taken to Egypt, where he endured injustice and prison, but God never left him. Through wisdom and the gift of interpreting dreams, Joseph rose to become the second most powerful man in Egypt. When a great famine struck the land, Joseph's brothers came to Egypt, searching for food, without knowing their brothers stood before them. Instead of vengeance, Joseph showed them grace. He wept, forgave, and embraced them. "What you meant for harm," he said, "God used for good." So Jacob and his family moved to Egypt, where they prospered and grew in number. And that is how the book of Genesis ends, not with the end of a story, but with the beginning of a people. What started in a garden now rests in a new land, with a promise still alive. It is the story of beginnings, of creation, fall, judgment, and grace. The first chapter in the long journey of God and humanity.